Okay, guys, alternate ending. Take 43.
With so many movies on the net and TV, it's kinda hard being up and film savvy. Do you catch a show while you're on the go? And how do you know what to keep or what to throw? How do you know what to keep or what to throw? Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Tune in, tune in, tune in to alternate ending. Now! Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of Alternate Ending.
Welcome to Alternating. We're discovering good movies, one bad movie at a time. I'm film school dropout Robert Jarosinski. Across from me is our casual moviegoer Carrie Jarosinski and our very own critic in residence Tim Brayton. With Tom Cruise vehicle The Mummy having hit theaters this weekend, we're taking a look at our top 5 Tom Cruise movies. But first, another movie that still seems to be taking the box office by storm is Wonder Woman. So we, I think, all had a mission last episode,
it was homework.
Carrie.
We all had homework.
We were all supposed to go out and see it. Did we accomplish the goal? Tim, I saw a review from you.
I certainly did.
Yeah.
I have committed to an opinion in print on this website, so it will come as no surprise to anybody when I said that, yes, I saw Wonder Woman.
When you saw it, I also saw it on a lady date.
You had a lady date?
I had a lady date. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My women-only screening that I went
Oh, you
to.
did your own female-only screening?
I did, yeah. It was the way to go. I actually am going to do that for every future movie. No one was trying to hold my hand.
Because of
nice.
the price to have someone care for your children being so high, in order to get it's hard to go out to see the movies together. So
is.
Carrie and I block and tackled. You went out. I watched
alone.
the kids. I went out.
I went with a friend.
Was this the same day? Like, did you show up with the children at the theater and leave them in the car when you went in to buy your tickets?
It was meant to be the same day, but Carrie
that's right.
just thought that tickets would be available last minute for the number one movie.
It was $5 Tuesdays.
It was
too.
$5 Tuesdays.
$5 Tuesdays are you will never get tickets $5 Tuesday if you don't buy them like a day in advance.
Can you buy so there's the handicap seats were available. Can you buy those? How does
Once
that work?
the showtime has started.
Then you can't. But then that's the risk. Do you drive all the way there and then they're gone? And I don't know.
What you should do, and this is a pro tip to our Madison-based listeners, if you go to the one theater, there's a $5 student Thursday, so you should become a student and then go to that theater.
It's worth the $75,000 education to get to the $5.
I thought you were going to say promote becoming handicapped or something is where you were going.
That would be in bad
taste. That's a
taste.
terrible thing to say. I will try becoming a student again so that I can do that, but I paid $13 for my Wonder Woman viewing.
Yeah,
I paid $13 for mine.
I know.
Probably at the same theater you paid at yours.
I got the $5 discount. So what was the theater experience like? And I should say we're going in our worth mentioning. We should just go right into it. I think we should all talk about Wonder Woman.
Yeah,
there's no other movie that we should talk about, but we're not going to spoil, I assume.
It's hard not to.
Wonder Woman dies.
Wonder Woman dies.
She's a ghost in Batman versus Superman, everybody.
Is it a spoiler that she's Amazonian?
No.
No.
I think we're safe
People
there.
know that
I think whatever happens in the first hour of the movie, for sure. First act, for sure.
Yeah.
The opening monologue, yes, definitely is
a spoiler.
spoiler-free.
So what did you guys think? What did you guys? All right. I'm going to tell you something I did. I never read your reviews, Tim, because I'm like, I don't want to be tainted. I don't want to know what you thought about it. I don't want to know the negatives, the positives, whatever. I just wanted to come in with my own view. But after I saw this, like a weirdo, I ran to my car as fast as I could, and I was like, hee hee, like reading the review to see if you agreed with me.
Well, do I agree with you?
I don't know. I still am left
set us
unknown.
Up too. I know
So,
everybody knows about this movie, 2017's Wonder Woman. Long. It's long.
Really long.
2 hours, 21 minutes. IMDb, people loving it, 8.2. Rotten Tomatoes, 92%. Starring Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, Robin Wright, Connie Nielsen, Danny Houston. It's an origin story.
Yeah.
Of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Is what it is. We saw her saw her arrive in Batman v Superman, and this is how she came to be. What did you...
Yeah, it was your number one film of the
my
summer,
number one film.
anticipated.
I'm so mad at myself for doing that because that's the thing. I expect it. So here's the thing. I go in and I'm thinking 5-star movie, really good trailer. Because the trailer had me more enthused than the actual movie. Oh. I saw your rating for it, and I actually think I'm the same rating. I know you gave it a 4-star. I think I'm the same rating, but I can tell you liked it more. Like it's I'm like a 3.78.
Gotcha.
And you're at a 4.
I'm like a 4.1.
4.1, right. I could tell that from your review. And I don't know why. I think for me, I wanted more action. It wasn't enough action for me. I wanted more.
There could be more action, and it also, to Rob's point, could be shorter, but the action's so good.
The action that's there is so good, so then it leaves you wanting more. So then you're like, so there's the scene.
There's the scene.
But the first one. Not the no man land scene
Which
that you
is
referred
the beach
to.
one?
The beach one.
The beach one.
Where I am like obsessed now with what is her name?
Robin Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she's
I needed
so
more.
good.
I needed
She's
more.
so good.
I needed more Robin Wright.
I needed more Robin
I
Wright.
definitely needed more Robin Wright.
Yeah.
She was awesome. And so I was like all about the action. I regretted shaving my legs before I got there because I had like the prickly leg thing happening the whole time, like the chills or whatever. And then it went like flat for me for a while.
Okay.
And then it picked up again.
So funny. I loved everything about the beach. The
beach.
whole time at the beach, the origin
The
part.
beach and Robin
I
Wright.
liked the set. Beautiful. Looking at it. And so I'll just cut to my chase too, since you guys revealed your star
Yeah.
ratings. I'm more 3.5.
Yeah.
And not a like leaning 4. It is a pretty like
Solid
I'm
3.5.
pretty much, and it's because of some of the action parts were great. I love the message, the female empowerment
Loved
of the movie. The little nods in the script to all of those things.
Loved it.
Perfectly fine with it. Some of the story was
It's like the pacing in the story.
was really weak. It was really long.
It is long.
I did not particularly like the CGI, especially at the end.
Yeah, I don't
At the end, it
remember.
was terrible.
It
The
was
end of
really
every
bad.
superhero
Part.
movie is always terrible.
Yeah.
So you just have to take that as read.
And was it you guys like conflicting ideology a little bit in what it's trying to
Oh,
set
hell
out
yeah.
to do?
It's an action-packed, exciting popcorn movie about pacifism. That doesn't work
It's
at all.
about pacifism.
That totally doesn't work. That's fine.
So
I'm
what
fine.
was
I'm
it for
fine
you,
with that.
Tim?
I'm
What
fine
was it
with
for
that.
you that made it this 4.1 star movie?
The No Man's Land scene is the best comic book scene possibly ever.
Yeah.
Certainly since the first Superman in 1978.
So for people who haven't seen it, you won't know, but when you do see
When
it,
you see it and
you'll
you
know
see
what
the No
Tim's
Man's
talking
Land
about.
scene, you'll say, "Oh yeah, that was a scene and a half." It's so good. It's so good. If the movie
Yeah.
was that good, it would be like a 7 out of 5 star movie.
The comedy
Right.
also, it wasn't super.
We might get into a
It wasn't
fight.
natural. Like
When you say the comedy, you are referring to all the comedy that does not center around the wonderful Lucy Davis, correct?
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying Chris Pine's interactions with Gal Gadot, like their little back and
The
forth
scene
sexual
where he's
innuendo.
naked in the pool, I thought was great. I loved it a little
It was
bit.
a little bit.
Oh yeah, see, I was fine with the nudity and the joking.
No, it was
around
fine.
that.
It was
Yeah.
just a little bit.
Do naked men make you uncomfortable, Rob?
No, I wasn't.
Did Chris
Definitely
Pine
not.
make you feel things
I just
that you
worried
don't want to have
about.
to
I
confront
worried for
that you
him
felt?
about shrinkage.
that
was my concern.
prickly hair leg thing that I was
I
talking
gotta
about
say
earlier.
too, Gal Gadot, awesome.
She's so good.
Yeah.
She has a
I was
presence.
not expecting that to be good.
Yeah,
Or to
she
be that
has
good.
she has that. Just
Can
the
I say
physical
I actually
presence.
had like a so here's my knock to her and it has no fault of her own, absolutely no fault of her own. And I said this to my friend that I saw in the theater and she looked at me like I was nuts, but I'm still going to say it here. She looked too much like Kim Kardashian to me and it was distracting. Like I'm picturing how much I dislike
Because
Kim.
she has dark brown hair.
There are some scenes she looks like her twin. Like a twin.
I don't know.
It was distractingly similar because
I
and
think this might just be you.
it's just never mind. But it was distracting, and I wish she looked a little less like her because she was prettier than Kim Kardashian and obviously better in every possible way. But I found it slightly distracting for how much I dislike the Kardashians.
I'm excited that we're somewhat aligned, all three of us, on this. You know, off a half a star, but agreeing on what we all think are, for the most part, the weaker parts of the movie. What did you think about the side characters? So did you think Chris Pine did well?
I thought Chris Pine did a really good job, but actually, probably alongside his performance in Into the Woods was my favorite he's been in anything, and in part for the same reason, because he's kind of playing this like, you know, super duty bro guy who then becomes less of a bro guy and becomes kind of sweet, which there's no sweetness, of course, in Into the Woods at all. But I liked it. I liked that it was the Chris Pine version of the girlfriend from a superhero movie.
It really
Agreed.
was. I didn't need the additional side characters that came
No,
in minus.
definitely not.
I'll say the Lucy. You said Lucy was her character's
Lucy
name.
Davis. Lucy Davis is
Lucy
the actress'
Davis.
name. I think
She
Edda.
was great.
She's so good.
The two that they pick up along the way,
The
not needed.
I think it had the exact same problem that Captain America: The First Avengers had, which is that when it hits the let's assemble the team, I stop caring.
Yeah.
Because I care about the main character and I care about the main character's like soulmate, in this case, Chris
Right.
Pine, in Captain America's case, Sebastian Stan. I don't care about the Howling Commandos, or what they're called in Captain America. I don't even know if they have a name in Wonder Woman.
It's funny you bring it
they're
up.
just the dudes.
The movie that I most associated this with was the Captain America.
Oh,
the
I don't
First
see how you
Avenger.
couldn't.
Yeah, it's right there. Even in the somewhat of the fogginess that is in No Man's Land, and it's that visual style there too. So this is a Patty Jenkins directed. She hasn't done
Yes.
anything since Monster. I do not see anything resembling Monster.
No,
Monster-ish.
totally
No.
different
About the-
movies, although, my God, she knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, she did.
Like,
Agreed.
so much good. Well, I think the pacing is good. Clearly, I may be alone in this room on that, but the action's so good.
It's good
action's
when it's
pretty.
there. I could have just used more. So then it would build it up, and then it would come completely down to like a flat tone again, and then 30 minutes later, epic action scene again. You know, and you're like, I could have just taken it straight through.
I mean, I could have too, but not every movie can be Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah. they can't.
Or
they
can
should
it?
be.
It could be if
It
you
should have
put in
been.
Gal Gadot.
Well, it was interesting, Tim. You and I had a conversation before we started, too, just about director continuity amongst kind of these anthology movies and even in TV. I felt there was a lot of Zack Snyder still present here that
The slow-mo for sure.
Slow-mo stuff. And
What I think is... I agree with that. I think this is kind of what would happen if a Zack Snyder movie was made by somebody who was good.
well said. Yeah, this is of the... I don't want to say of the DC because that wouldn't be true. Of the Zack
can you
Snyder... anything Batman.
Of the four, of
yeah.
the DCEU.
Yes.
For whatever the hell
This has
reason.
got I'm right there. I like Man of Steel. I actually liked it quite a bit.
I did see those.
I know you haven't seen Man of Steel, but
Yeah.
this is right up there, or maybe a little bit more.
To me, this is slam dunk the best of the four. And I'm like a booster for Batman v Superman. I think it's better than it gets credit for. But no, for me, this is easily the best of the four.
Yeah. Good movie, though, and would recommend highly, if you haven't seen it, to see it in theaters.
See it in
Agreed.
theaters. I've heard the 3D is pretty good. I didn't see it that way. I'm not going to push anyone to see it that way, but that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, remember, you can find more details about all the movies we've watched at our website, alternating.com. That's alternating.com. Before we head to our break, you might be wondering about ways to support the show. Direct from our website, you can head over to our Patreon page, which provides you access to a ton of perks. You may want to make us watch a movie, have Tim write a review, pick your own episode topic. You can do it all from our Patreon page. Also, I want to thank all our listeners who support the show and make their Amazon purchases through our site. Doing it is easy. Just go to our website, alternating.com, click on our Amazon banner, and seamlessly go about your purchases. All proceeds go to making our show better. Since our last episode, folks, we had quite a few more purchases. We had a little bit of a lull there, and then a nice uptick. We had some clothing and accessories, some Easton Marlowe's men's colorful pattern dress socks. I'm a big fan of really letting my personality shine through my socks.
We know. They're all gray.
They're all gray. No, they're polka
just
dots
joking.
and stripes.
Mine are white and are full of holes, which is what say about my personality.
It says you're a student.
We also had this must be some healthier deodorant. This is a rose and vanilla deodorant jar. Yeah, some odor protection and wetness relief. I get some wetness from time to time in the armpits.
I'm curious
know.
how you apply deodorant out of a jar.
It's just with your
Very
hand, you
carefully.
spackle it on.
I guess this is what I'm saying. This is the image I have in my head right now.
Aluminum free though. That's important. That's what they
That
say.
is.
No, it totally is.
That's what's killing you. Yeah.
We also had a reversible microfiber comforter. So you get one side dirty, you just flip it over.
Yep.
You're
Just
good
like
to go.
underwear.
Just
Yep.
like underwear.
Hey.
Tim might need your help with this one. We had a Blu-ray purchase, Tenebrae.
Good movie. Whoever bought
what
that,
is-
that is a Dario Argento murder mystery from 1982. Not A+, it's actually medium tier Argento, but really fucking good medium tier Argento. A+ choice for an A- movie.
And also someone getting ready for the Planet of the Apes series to continue because we had the Planet of the Apes Legacy Collection on Blu-ray purchase. Well
Nice,
done.
nice.
Also some Beauty Shea Moisture, African black soap with shea butter.
Oh, yeah.
That pack of
Black
four.
soap.
That's
that
full of
sounds
moisture, yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, that's like
That's a
carbon.
new trend.
Carbon's the new thing.
No, it's
like,
coal.
Coal, excuse me, coal. Carbon. That's carbon, right?
I don't know.
Coal is a state of carbon.
Thank you.
It's there. It's in
So
there.
is your body, for that matter.
Also
But
carbon.
Also carbon. Yeah.
It's a music purchase debut, a couple Kindle ebooks, Guns of Dawn, Girl Over Paris, Vision Volume 2, Little Better Than a Beast. Not familiar with those, but thank you for that. Someone getting ready for your Supergirl series that you covered as well, Tim. We had the Amazon Instant Video of that purchased.
That probably was actually me.
Oh, it was you.
Probably.
So was the black body butter as well.
I didn't know. I don't know. Did you? Was that the first time you saw Supergirl?
No, it was not the first time I'd seen Supergirl.
I have this weird affection for it, having seen it when I was very, very young.
1984.
Don't ever rewatch
I'm
it
not
again.
gonna-
You'll be very sad.
It's only 1.5 stars.
It's
It's probably
bad.
deserving of that,
It
which
does.
is why I
assure
don't
you
need to
it's
do a
that bad.
rewatch. We talked about Man of Steel. That was also purchased on Blu-ray. Appreciate that, folks. Another DVD, Eclipse series, 42, Silent Ozo, 3 crime dramas.
Ozu.
Ozu, thank you, Tim.
Yasujiro Ozu, and I know that because I bought that as well.
Tim is leading by example.
I reviewed The Floating Weeds, one of our ACS fundraiser reviews, and I was like, man, I need to get more Ozu in my life, and it happened to be on sale. So I was
Nice.
like, yes.
We also had one more Kindle ebook purchase, Everything That Remains, a memoir by the Minimalists. I'm a big believer in it as we sit in our larger square footage home. I do believe there's something about minimalism.
We're
I
thinking
just don't
about
think I
getting an
can get there.
Aerostream.
We are in the basement of your home in your dedicated podcasting room. We no more believe in minimalism, dude.
Starting tomorrow.
We'll begin tomorrow. Well, thanks, guys, for all your purchases. When we get back, our top 5 Tom Cruise movies. And welcome back to Alternating. We're talking about our top 5 Tom Cruise movies. So, Tom Cruise Mopather the fourth?
What are you talking about?
Mopather.
Talking about his birthright name, Mopather?
I don't know. We looked
don't
it
know
up
what the
online.
accent-
We ended up with all sorts of very unhelpful voice generators pronouncing his last name in like 17 different ways.
So
Born
wait, his real last name is Mopather?
Yeah.
It's something Mapother. So do with that as you will.
So he changed his name to Cruz?
because no one could fucking pronounce Mapother.
Mapother. I could have said Mapother.
I don't
think
know
I
what
would have
the
liked it
accent.
more as a Mapother than a Cruz.
Born July 3rd, 1962. The man is 55 years old. He is ageless.
55.
He is ageless, although he is starting to look like a well-preserved 40-year-old.
I think the time that I started really noticing it was Jack Reacher Part 2, which I unfortunately saw, which I'll just give away is not on my top 5 Tom Cruise movies
Well,
list.
Spoiler, spoiler.
It's a bad movie.
It is. But that's where I really, but still shirtless, can still pull off the abs. But I noticed
Is
it
it
more in his
CGI,
face.
do you think?
Oh, how he preserves his youth?
No, but I mean, like, they could just craft, like, abs
I
for
think
him.
he stays fit.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he seems very meticulous.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's the Scientology or the early beginnings when he wanted to be a priest. He was like actually in seminary school. Like that was his ambition in
Because
life.
as we all know, priests are very kept.
They're very
well-kept and
ripped.
attractive men.
The priests I know who fight
Yeah.
for the Lord. That's a reference to something. I don't remember what it is.
To a motion picture and not
I
to
kick ass for the
it's,
Lord.
It's brain dead.
Oh, brain dead. Thank you.
And it's fake.
fun.
It's a movie.
That's weird that you
They
know
gotta
that.
stay in shape. There was also I digress. What do you guys think overall about Tom Cruise? Before we get into his movies.
I think people either generally, there's nobody that's in the middle. You either love him or you despise him. So, love or despised him.
I love and despise him.
You
I think
both
I
love
think
and
he's a
despise.
piece of shit human being. Great movie star. Like
Okay,
one of
okay.
our great movie stars right now.
Okay.
So that's interesting that you say that. Looking at his catalog of movies too, he's only been nominated for an Oscar. He's never won
He's
an
not
Oscar.
a great actor. He's a great movie star.
He's a
That's
great movie
very,
star.
very important.
But usually
Yeah.
get rewarded. Like there's like some like he's running out of opportunities to win an Oscar.
It could be Mission Impossible 7.
I don't know, man. The Mummy. The Mummy's going to be it.
Mummy?
Ah, The Mummy. Not looking so good right now,
Nope.
guys. I have not. I'm still holding out hope. But it does not.
It could
does
be
not look
good. You
promising.
don't want to pass judgment. Are you in the love or despise camp?
I try not to let. I don't know
Oh,
what he's
geez.
like. I
Take
like
a
him.
side.
I love his movies.
He told Brooke Shields that taking antidepressants was bad for humanity when she was suffering from
Such a
extreme
dill
postpartum.
hole.
I mean,
Such a dill
He is a
hole.
dill hole.
Okay, that I didn't know about that.
So
fact.
That's the whole thing back
I'm
in
clearly
05.
in the despise camp. Like literally, I will actively not see his movies because of just my personal feelings of him.
So Tim and I did some counting. I think we arrived at 41 movies.
He
his
has made
catalog.
41 movies if we include The Mummy, which opened, of course, this weekend. So 41.
41. Care. So you despise him. How many movies have you seen of Tom Cruise's?
7.
Really?
Just the
That's
7.
it?
And they're all BK.
What's BK?
Before Katie.
Before Katie Holmes. Okay.
And so AK, I just avoid completely.
You've missed some very good movies.
So, okay, I've seen one. I've seen one post. I've seen one AK.
You've missed his best movie.
wait,
And
wait.
Rob made me see it.
Oh, okay. But wait, no, you haven't seen anything before Katie Holmes. So before Katie Holmes.
No, I've
She's
only
only
seen
seen
before
Oh,
AK.
you've only seen.
So
Have
I'm
you
going to
seen
refer to
before-
everything
have
as
you seen-
BK and AK.
Have you seen before Nicole Kidman? Because he was married also to Mimi Rogers.
Not a fan of Nicole Kidman either.
But that has nothing to do with my question.
Oh, wait.
Have you seen movies? Have you seen
don't
movies?
know
Kidman is
what
a goddess.
she's in the same camp. I feel like she's
She's a
rude.
great actress.
I would
think she
crawl
might be
over
rude.
broken glass for Nicole Kidman.
She's in my rude camp. I think
She's probably rude, but she's also Australian, so I don't think you'd be able to tell.
you wouldn't know. They all.
So you've seen 7 Tom Cruise movies.
I
out
told
of the
you I
14.
stick to my
Tim,
guns on these things.
how
My
about you,
top
buddy?
guns.
31.
Ooh.
31. So Tim is bringing a more informed or more well-versed opinion.
I'm sorry, 32,
Broader.
because I was not counting Austin Powers' his cameo in Goldmember, but the 40 does include, the 41 includes that.
So
I'd
he has
say
a broader
32.
set.
I had no idea before this. This is why I've been saving it. I've seen 39 of the
Hot
42.
damn.
Of the 40. I must really like.
I think you
So
love
you have
them.
not seen The Mummy. We
I've
know
not
this.
seen The
What are
Mummy.
the other two?
I have not seen. His first movie, Endless Love.
Endless
or
Love.
Whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm blanking. I should have been.
Endless
prepared
Love
for
was the
this.
first one.
I've seen Losing It. Sadly, I can't think of the other one. I've seen Taps. I've seen all the older,
All the Right Moves?
all the right moves. I've seen. It's something early on I missed.
The Outsiders?
The Outsiders.
I've seen The Outsiders.
I've not seen The Outsiders.
It's a Coppola. He's got a smallish role.
Okay, so it's
a
not
good
like I was
movie,
missing
worth
out on the
seeing.
main. And the reason I bring it up is I think the majority of
think you love him.
America, and you mentioned he's a superstar. He's one of the all-time great movie stars. And if you look at his body of work, he is a surefire box office draw.
Not quite true.
I mean, the average box office. I did the math on it. His movies average 167 million bucks, unadjusted for inflation.
You got his last few movies have not. I mean, the Mission Impossibles are money machines. Edge of Tomorrow had to crawl over 100 million.
I think a lot of that had to do with marketing. Edge of
I'm sure a
Tomorrow,
lot of it did.
and the title being
title's
just
fucking awful.
a piece of shit.
But it's a great movie. It
We
got
should
really
do
good
top
reviews.
5 bad titles, good movies with bad titles.
That would
good
be
one.
on my top 5.
And we could use Edge of Tomorrow.
In the meantime, we also. You guys interested in knowing what his top 5 movies grossed adjusted for inflation are?
Adjusted for inflation?
Yeah.
Can I guess that number
Yeah.
1 is Top Gun?
It is. That's correct. Nicely done.
I can see that.
So we have The Firm at number 5, Mission Impossible 2, surprisingly.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's the most successful of them, which really breaks my heart.
Mission Impossible 1 is adjusted for
Adjusted for
inflation.
inflation.
And then Rain Man is number 2.
Oh yeah,
adjusted.
Rain Man, bizarre world we used to live in. Rain Man was the highest grossing film of 1988.
Wow.
Can you imagine whatever the analog to Rain Man would be? Would probably make like $10 million now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It just that kind of movie wouldn't work from a box office perspective.
Yeah.
Or any other.
And it
if-
outgrossed Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Just think about that.
We also have, as far as you add up all of his box office earnings over his lifetime, he ranks number 9 all time. And the people ahead of him, we have Ian McKellen, Scarlett Johansson, Robert Downey Jr., Morgan Freeman, Eddie Murphy's in there, Tom Hanks, Harrison Ford, Samuel Jackson. All of them have.
A lot of them are because of Lord of the Rings.
Lord
and
of the
Ian
Rings,
McKellen's
Star
case. A lot
Wars.
of them are the Star Wars and Marvel films. And
So I kind of throw those out because it's not fair. Tom Cruise hasn't had, other than Mission Impossible.
Impossible's it.
And those aren't to the same level or degree. So Tom Cruise is bankable. He's bankable as a movie star. You put Tom Cruise in a movie, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna make 167.
you think
million
it's
bucks.
like one of those things where people just like train wrecks, you know? You people just
I
come to
like
see
what he
them.
brings. It's the stare. He has the gaze. He brings
I
that
don't
gaze to
know.
every. He's got the serious, like, look you in the eye. It looks very serious.
I don't know. I
like
still
it.
can't dig him.
Yeah.
And for me, that has nothing to do whatsoever with his appeal. I would say that it's all about just like his commitment. And he works with really interesting auteurs, weirdly, which you would not expect. I think he picks projects that are cool. He has good taste.
I noticed that in my selection when I was narrowing down my top 5. And what's nice is we had a lot of audience participation as well. So I think it's really easy when we go this route and pick an actor because the catalog's right there. You can just pick. I did notice some patterns. Did you guys notice any patterns in your selections as far as working or collaborating with particular people or anything like that without giving anything away?
I didn't really think about it that in depth.
I'm just looking at it right now. They're like all the same. Maybe.
Really?
Some of them.
I definitely had some, and we'll get into it too. And what better way to start with our number 5?
Sure.
Kara, where do you want to go first?
No.
Tim, you want to go first?
Sure.
No, I'm just kidding. I'll go first. I think that there's going to be a lot of overlap. Again, I've only seen the 7. So here's the thing. I've
Do you feel bad about the 2 that don't make the cut?
a little bit bad, but in defense of Tom Cruise, if there's any for me, despite my personal dislike for him, the movies that I have on here are ones I really, really liked. So that said, I will go with my number 5, which is the 1992 Far and Away. Anybody?
That is one of the ones I have not seen.
Wow.
What?
I'm shocked you like it.
You
because
love
it
Nicole Kidman,
also stars
too.
that wench Nicole Kidman that you despise so much.
No. So, can you imagine how good this movie was if, despite the fact that Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise were in it, it made my list of top 5s?
I like it. I do like it. It's not
Classic story of an Irishman played by Tom Cruise facing poverty and eviction after his father's death. Gotta love it. And he goes off and then starts a relationship with Nicole Kidman, and then it becomes, I think it takes place in the 1800s. It's like 1893 it takes place in. But they go to the U.S. to seek land. And you've probably seen some of the clips of like when they're trying to like stake their land or whatever. Okay. And it was just a really passion-filled movie. It's directed by Ron Howard, written by Bob Dolman. And I just remember when I saw it years ago, I mean, probably this was like middle school viewing. I remember thinking it was super steamy and I liked it. And again, it was pre-Katie. So I was like, I didn't have any animosity in middle school towards anything really. So I really liked this movie.
I liked it a lot too. There's the fighting sequences as well that are pretty nice.
He becomes a fighter.
Bare knuckle brawler. That's how he would try to.
He becomes a fighter
feet.
to make money, and she becomes like a barmaid or barkeep, or she does something to like they're just trying to scrape by to get money to leave and whatever. And I thought it was good.
Yeah, it has aspects of. I'm going to compare it to Brooklyn only in the fact of like they're coming from Ireland. From Ireland. That's really the only connection. Nicole.
All them movies about the damn Knicks. Am I right?
She's affluent. He's poor.
Yeah.
But she then becomes to rely on him. I do like this movie. Yeah, it's got a sweet spot. I've got a sweet spot for it. It is not on my list.
Right.
But good.
Thanks.
I mean, yeah. Again, according to me, you can't.
According to me, I can't go wrong.
All 39 Tom Cruise movies should belong on my top 5 list.
Gold members on your list.
Yes.
No.
So Cocktail for you ought to be one of the top 5 Tom Cruise
it's misunderstood.
Oh, that's there.
Misunderstood. No, it's
deeply
not.
misunderstood.
So you're next. What's your 5? You're going to take one of mine.
I'm confident.
I know you
are.
are.
The one thing I walked into, I knew my number 5 was going to be somewhere on your top 5.
What is it?
My number 5, also a romantic movie, not a drama, very lovely, sweet-hearted comedy, 1996 Cameron Crowe film, Best Picture nominee, Jerry Maguire.
We are lining up on number 5, Tim.
That's my number 1.
Ouch.
It's okay.
Let's hold off on talking about it.
No, we can talk about it because everybody has seen it, unless you're a terrible person.
It's so good, and it's just like, I don't like Renee Zellweger, but it makes her seem like so fun and like bubbly.
Yeah.
I don't like that stupid kid, but he's like so cute and quirky.
Gosh, you don't like that kid because that kid is you guys. That brain kid is you people.
Potentially.
That's
Potentially.
the complex
but
there.
It's a really wonderful romantic comedy of a sort that like didn't really get made in the 90s, certainly doesn't get made now at all.
Yeah, when has that ever been done, you know?
Yeah,
it's been done by Cameron Crowe over and over again.
True. It is a film that Cameron Crowe has made.
What else has he done
times.
that's else like that?
Say Anything.
Almost Famous.
Elizabethtown.
I don't want to put in at the same levels.
Yeah.
They're at different levels, but Cameron Crowe makes very similar
He makes
movies.
one kind of movie.
Love this
good
movie.
Kind.
Good kind.
I do enjoy
Trey,
Cameron Crowe.
I will say before we get any farther into this, for me, the question, what makes a top 5 Tom Cruise movie? Not top 5 Tom Cruise performances.
Agreed.
Not top 5 movies in which Tom Cruise appears. Top 5 movies that I think trade on Tom Cruise's presence in an effective way. And I think he's so damn easy to like in this movie. He's cute, he's fun, he's a bro, but he's also a sensitive boyfriend.
Flawed too.
Flawed.
I like when he's flawed.
Yes.
Agreed.
I totally agree. I think it is a great charismatic guy movie with it's a guy and girl movie, and it's good. I like it a lot.
To your point though, just there, my criteria for this is it was a movie that I really liked that had Tom Cruise in it.
Gotcha.
So that's my only criteria. So it's movies. It falls into Tom Cruise
You also have a
movies.
list of 7 to whittle down to 5, so I feel like you're...
But they're so good, the ones I have.
Yeah, I'm looking at my list too. All of mine except for one are above 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, and all of them score above 7.0 on IMDb, but high 7s. He's got some good movie selections.
So that was your number 5.
That was my number 5, so
Okay.
I'm on to number 4 if that's cool with you guys.
So that makes it to me, right?
Well, it could be.
Are
We could
But
skip.
Rob hasn't had a chance to go.
Okay, you
yet.
go.
haven't
You go.
talked.
Have a turn.
No, I never get a turn. I'm going to go with just a movie that features just a lot of great performances. Not a lot of action, but a lot
Okay.
of great performances, particularly with Tom Cruise and Jack Nicholson. I'm talking about 1992's A Few Good Men. 2 hours, 18 minutes, IMDb 7.6, Rotten Tomatoes 81%. I try to pick a couple Tom Cruise movies from, the action. This is just pure acting, procedural movie.
That's Sorkin, man. It's the Sorkin dialogue.
It's the Sorkin dialogue, and that's what I was talking about. I was wondering if any themes. Aaron, this is early Sorkin too, right? I don't know if he had done a whole lot before this.
He had not yet broken into TV, although I think he had a couple. Well, this was a play, so he's had some plays.
The back and forth between Nichols, just that
This
alone.
is a top 5 Jack Nicholson movie, not a top 5.
You don't feel like Tom Cruise
movie.
You don't feel
This
it
was
meets
one of the
Tim's
7
criteria?
that I've seen.
Oh, and you didn't have it on your top
No.
5 list? Oh man,
I have like bad associations with it. I don't know.
I agree that if Jack Nicholson is not in this movie,
It's
it's
a piece.
It's not there. I didn't have the same rigorous criteria, Tim, that you did. Where I guess I was looking at it, is Tom Cruise in this movie? I wasn't saying like you removed Tom Cruise being the essential element. I just looked at my favorite movies that have Tom Cruise in it. I will agree that you take Jack Nicholson's performance out of this movie and it loses a whole lot. But you have also Kiefer Sutherland to be more great supporting cast. Kevin Pollak.
I don't know if
Kevin Bacon.
Demi Moore in this movie rises to the level of.
She doesn't
great
do a
supporting.
whole lot?
She does a whole lot that's bad.
Yeah.
It's
But-
Demi. It's Demi,
Demi.
guys. Let's get the
Nominated-
pronunciations on the name right. Demi.
Nominated for 4 actors. Also, listeners Zev Burrow, Carol Fisher, Van Pelt, and Jonathan Watkins had this on their list too. I liked it. I
will
liked
say,
it a lot.
It is
I
a
know
good
it doesn't
movie.
matter. This would have been my number 7.
Okay.
Because I did
It
in
does
fact
matter.
write out my top 11.
It does matter
Because
to
it was
me.
hard to
I
pick.
appreciate it.
That's hard to. That's a lot of extra work there. A lot of extra homework. But that's dedication. My number 4 is on all of your lists. I'm 100% certain. And I will put the 75 cents I have in my pocket on the table for it. The 1986 movie Top Gun.
Nope.
I don't have 75 cents. I was lying about that. And now it's weird.
How do you not know us by now? Like a little bit.
Top Gun? Top Gun is like.
Here's my
Top
hot
Gun.
take. Top Gun is not my favorite Tony Scott film starring Tom Cruise.
I don't even know what that means, but if I did know what that
Director
meant.
of Top Gun also directed Days of Heaven, which I think is a better Tom Cruise movie.
Is that on your list?
Nope.
Also not. That was number 9.
It made my honorable mentions.
You people. So it is Tony Scott and Jim Cash wrote it. I don't even know what to say about this movie. Everyone already saw it. So it's Maverick. A guy is a naval aviator, and it's this it's a bro on bro movie.
It's very bro on bro.
Like, hey,
I admire that about it.
your plane's faster than mine. I can be faster than you.
I'm so mad at you, bro, that I want to play topless volleyball with you, bro.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take my cut off hair on the top, like whatever that hairstyle was back then, and do that.
This is a testosterone driven movie.
I love it because it is literally the gayest movie for straight boys ever made.
Yeah, maybe that's why I was so drawn to it. It's Tim Robbins, Tom Cruise, Kelly McGillis, and Val Kilmer. I had a huge thing for Val Kilmer, mostly following The Saint. The Saint came after this.
Oh yeah,
Many years.
Yeah.
So I liked him more in The Saint than I did in this movie. But anyway, he bulked up a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I just love this movie. It was steamy and fun. And then the thing that Tom Cruise has with Kelly McGillis gets steamy, and then he rides off on his little motorcycle. And
Well, you'll be
I love
excited.
the way you discuss sex scenes. It's delightful and we're
There's,
gonna be
I believe there's some saxophone music and some Kenny Loggins music as well throughout this
What
movie.
else
so
do you
fantastic.
need?
I will say, I think Top Gun is a fun,
it's fun.
kind of dumb, super crazy pro-war. Of course, it was the 80s. It's a good popcorn movie. It will always have a secure place in my heart for its inspiration on the TV show Archer, which I don't know if either one of you
Oh,
watched.
yeah. I have seen that. I have seen that, and I've never put the connection together, but
Danger Zone.
that's I will think about that now. I think this is another one where it's like, here's the other thing. This was like middle school viewing. Your perspective is so different than the time I thought I was like getting away with something, watching something.
Well, again, it's the number one adjusted for inflation Tom Cruise movie, so
Yeah.
you're not alone in the
good.
love for Top Gun.
I liked it.
I like it. It did make my honorable mention list. It's
Yeah.
just you'll be excited to know Top Gun Maverick has been greenlit.
I was just going to say, like, it's recently been announced, so you now have to make a decision. You don't see Tom
Right.
Cruise movies, but will you see the sequel?
So it's going to be AK after Katie. I don't know that I'll see it. We'll see out of principle if I'll take myself to go see it. I might. I'll keep you posted.
All right.
So what's your number 4?
So my number 4, I don't really know how to lead into it because we're drifting very far away from the territory we've been in so far. Kind of a Tom Cruise art movie, kind of. It is a film that I picked because I really love how he breaks the Tom Cruise persona. He plays a very charming, very charismatic, very evil human being who spends a night terrorizing Jamie Foxx. The movie, 2004, Michael Mann directed Collateral, in which a taxi driver picks up this very suave, gentlemanly sort of character. Jamie Foxx is the taxi driver. Tom Cruise, of course, is the passenger. Turns out Jamie Foxx has just gotten himself a job shuttling an assassin across Los Angeles. Super beautiful movie. So there's that. It's like one of the prettiest nighttime movies you will ever see. I love it that it's Tom Cruise basically playing the dark mirror universe version of Tom Cruise as like this really... he's magnetic and charismatic and you want to get to know him better, and then when you do, you find out that he is a toxic, evil son of a bitch. So maybe you would like this.
So it seems accurate.
BK.
Everything you're saying. BK.
BK. It is a BK film.
It's BK. And it seems like it wouldn't be much of a stretch. So I feel like it was, maybe he just did some like off script. Like there was no script even. He just like pulled out of his evil brain for the movie, you think?
I don't think Tom
What's
Cruise
that called when there's no
actually-
script?
Improv.
Like an improv
I think Tom Cruise does not kill people
in real life.
in real life. He's shitty in a lot of ways, but I don't think he's
Not that
pulled the
extreme.
trigger and caused a human life to end as a result of
Again,
it.
I'm not a
double
good
check
barometer because I like Tom Cruise movies, and this was one when I remember seeing the trailers for it, and Tom with the salt and pepper hair, which he has going on for this movie. I was intrigued, and it was really good. It was really good. Also makes as do my other 39.
I was going to say, every movie that we name is
So
going to make
weird.
your honorable
This says-
mentions.
I was going to say before this even started, I feel like the movies you choose here say a lot about you. So I feel like the fact that you've seen 39
all right,
of them.
Top Gun.
I feel like the fact that you've committed to saying that Cocktail is misunderstood proves that you would bone Tom Cruise if he was in this film.
if given the opportunity. BK even.
BK.
So that takes it to your number, 3?
I'm on number 3 now.
is-
I'm leading the charge now.
Hey.
So number 3 is a more recent movie that I just really love the tone, and this is where we start getting into where I see patterns for myself of writers, directors overlap when I see Tom Cruise working with this writer-director. I'm all in. I'm talking about 2012's Jack Reacher. 2 hours and 10 minutes, IMDb 7.0, Rotten Tomatoes 62%, written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie of Usual Suspects kind of fame.
Sure.
But
More,
has kind of gotten himself into the business of making Tom Cruise movies.
a lot of Tom Cruise movies.
He's got that. He's got Mission Impossible
Valkyrie.
5 and the upcoming Mission Impossible 6. He wrote Valkyrie, I think, but Bryan Singer directed it.
Okay, Bryan Singer directed Valkyrie. I'm a fan of Christopher McQuarrie's writing. A lot of it is that dialogue aspect that I like that he brings to the table. In this one, he is playing somewhat what you described, not evil, but someone who's very likable, but kind of an asshole. And I just really like the Jack Reacher character based on the novels. And Tom Cruise really just nails it. Super disappointed in Jack Reacher 2.
Jack Reacher 2
Such
is
a
piece
departure.
of shit. It is so bad.
And
It's not even so bad. I think I gave it 2.5, but it's very boring.
The supporting cast is pretty well established too. Rosamund Pike, Richard Jenkins, David Aiello, Jai Courtney, and Werner Herzog.
Werner Herzog.
Oh, that again.
That's now I know him. He's the documentarian guy, right?
He's the documentarian
with
guy.
the voice that you do really well.
He does I will not be doing it for
Not right now.
listeners' pleasure.
He adds
but yes.
at least a half a star to the.
I'd say he adds a full damn star.
Just that
He's so good.
monologue. at
He's
the
so
end.
good.
Yeah. I want to see more Werner in movies, and then Robert Duvall's what is essentially like a cameo in the third act. Also really love it too. And for those who aren't familiar, it's a homicide investigator. He's a military police, former military police, has to dig into assassination that occurred by a military sniper who shot 5 random victims. Did he do it? Did he not do it? He's investigating it. I love those types of movies. But Jack Reacher 2, if you like Jack Reacher 1, you're okay missing out. In fact, you probably should, just so that you're not disappointed for it. But I like Jack Reacher quite a bit.
All right.
It's really good. Although I will say, I love the movie. I feel like it's kind of lost a little bit of its luster to me. It does feel a little bit like the film we needed in order to get to John Wick. But I do still think that Jack Reacher is a really, really solid.
But John Wick was definitely better.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Stylishly, yes.
Okay.
I like the dialogue.
Always. The dialogue.
The dialogue's better in
There's no good dialogue.
There's no dialogue. It's just awesome. It's just beautiful.
Keanu Reeves, right? So there's no talking.
There's
John
not
Wick,
a whole lot of talking.
Yeah, just some moans and grunts, I would imagine.
Basically.
I haven't seen it. So does that send it to my number 2?
I think we're left with your...
we
can hold on to it.
Wait, where are you?
Have you given us your number 3?
I did.
Because I have not given us...
Oh, no, sorry. I'm on my
we're starting
number 3.
We're doing 3s.
I'm on 3. I already gave you my 1, but I'm on my 3rd.
Right.
That's right. Which is on both of your lists. I was wrong about Top Gun, but this one, I'm 100% certain is on both of your lists.
We'll see.
That 75 cents I lied about, I have again. I could throw it out there with the 2014 Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
That is my number 2.
It's my number 1. Tim. Pretty good lineup.
That was your number 1?
It's my number 1, but pretty good. I'm excited about lining up with Tim on 5 and 2 and 2 1.
So Rob wrecked this to me, which was like something we did maybe like a year ago, where we said like, what's a movie that the other person would have never otherwise seen, and Rob was always really
recommended.
Recommended.
I was like, how did Rob wreck this? It's so good.
Wreck.
That was our plan.
Up across the table and like punch you in the face for wrecking.
That was the pun.
Okay.
It was like a wreck, but also like a wreck.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? And so he sent this to me, and I was like, I don't feel very good about it, but I would have never picked this up otherwise. And I really, really, really liked it. I think mostly because he's like the deprecating character.
It's an outstanding movie if you hate Tom Cruise, because he spends the whole movie
getting like
as
abused,
this pathetic little shit who gets run over by the same tank 40 times.
I loved it. He gets like punched in the face and over, and like every day gets punched in the face, and every day is better than the next for me in that movie. So I really, really liked it. Obviously, you guys did too. So it's your 1?
It's my 1.
Do you want to talk about it?
I'll just bring up it's Doug
briefly.
Liman directing, and he does infuses it with that humor. And then Christopher McQuarrie, I just finished talking about Christopher McQuarrie getting a hold of the script and working on the dialogue. Emily Blunt's amazing on it. We get Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, buddy. Kind of an opposite role to I know we just did our Big Aliens episode as well too. Kind of the reverse. He plays the sergeant in this one too. So I like this movie.
It's a Groundhog's Day movie, if you haven't seen it, where aliens have come and Tom Cruise plays like a person, and what is he like?
He's like a PR guy.
So he's not meant to go into war, and they're like, "Sorry, man, gotta go into war. You're not prepared.
His face,
gotta go into war." And he's like,
he's told by the general.
Like he's exactly who I picture him in real life in this movie. Just a big. Bad like Sally Pants, crybaby Sally. Yeah, like I can't even think of a word. So anyway, he goes out, and it's a Groundhog's Day thing where he wakes up every day and like goes and gets abused and whatever and beat up. It's just really cool.
It's really cool.
Emily Blunt's awesome in it too.
Emily Blunt is like Oscar worthy good.
Yeah.
Movie. And there have been rumors that she's going to be spun off, or that they're going to do a sequel with her and him. And I was like, yes, please, whatever. But no, like I love about it exactly what you were saying. I love that it's Tom Cruise, who's this dashing all-American hero, playing like a creep.
Yeah.
And we're excited to see him get run over by the goddamn truck, and we're excited to see him get his head shot off. But seriously, I keep harping on the truck because there's that montage where he gets run over the truck like 5 or 6 times in a row, and just so perfectly timed. And the comedy is just like,
and he knows it's
so
coming.
Good, and he knows it's coming.
Yeah.
I love it. It's my favorite popcorn movie of the last several years. Like, for real.
Agreed. I remember being glad that you sent that one to me.
I appreciate that. Something I recommended stuck with you.
I know.
That means a lot. Tim, number 3 to you?
Number 3 to me. So still in the realm of 2010's popcorn movie version of Tom Cruise. a little bit before Edge of Tomorrow. This is actually probably the film that turned me around from like, oh, Tom Cruise is just a pretty nobody who can't act, to, oh no, Tom Cruise is like a for real legit superstar and I love him. 2011, Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
I'm done. You just
That's
took my
it?
number 2. I'm all out.
Wait, which one is it? Wait, what number?
It's my number 3. It's Rob's number
No, I mean like which Mission Impossible?
the fourth one.
The fourth. Okay. The
And
fourth is better than the first?
Hell yes.
So that's where I struggled. I had to decide 4 or 1 for me. That's where I was at, and I
to me,
picked. I had
4
to
and
pick
5
4.
are so much above the first 3. It's not even like
What's the one with
close.
all the dust? Where like the dust storm?
4, where there's the goddamn Tom
yeah.
Cruise strapped himself on the Burj Khalifa, the tallest fucking skyscraper in the world,
I did see that one.
and like was like, okay, you guys, I am a 50-year-old billionaire and I'm going to go hang on the top of a fucking building a quarter of a mile above the ground. And he did it.
And he
they
did.
made a movie of it. And it's an IMAX, so it's really goddamn big.
I remember actually having vertigo.
Totally.
Seeing the scene and like kind of getting freaked out, like having to close my eyes and look away from the shot because it was obviously real.
It's quite
and
real.
it just made me very uncomfortable, and that's how good it was.
It's so good. And it's Brad Bird, who made The Incredibles, who made Ratatouille, who made The Iron Giant, 3 of the best animated films of the last 20 years. His live action debut, his live action follow-up, Tomorrowland, is not so good, but with Ghost Protocol, he absolutely nails the comic timing. He nails the thriller timing. I mean, in that, we were talking about the scene where Tom is hanging off the side of the building. When you see that in IMAX, the way it builds into the IMAX expansion is so cleverly done. Like, that's how finely tuned the directing is in this movie, that like even that one cut was like perfectly planned out. I love it. I love all the set pieces. The sandstorm on the Burj Khalifa is a really good one. I also love the giant like car vending machine thing that happens at the end of it. I adore this movie. My favorite of the Mission Impossibles by a huge, huge stretch. And like I said, the movie where I kind of learned like, oh, Tom Cruise is committed to his craft. And I dig that.
I'll mention that Caleb Wimble, listener, friend of the show, WBTN, Stevie and Bob Mason also had Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol on their top 5 list as well. So I'm all out, Kara.
You're out?
I'm out.
Are you out?
I have one left.
You have one left.
I have
You have
my
one left.
number 1.
You're number 1. Okay. And I have my number 2.
My number 1 and your number 2 are not the same movie.
You're sure?
I'm 75 cents sure.
I am 99.9% sure because I was skeptical about even putting this on my list, and then I was like, "Hey, just be you, Carrie, be you." So, not the Jesus reference again, unfortunately, but I just decided to put it because when I saw it, I love this movie despite what may have changed in social norms over time. But I chose the 1988 Rain Man. Is my number 2. It's directed and written by Cameron Crowe. And I saw this when I was like...
It is
Yes,
definitely
that's
not written
that's
and
not
directed by Cameron
correct.
Crowe.
No?
That's Jerry
It's
Maguire.
It's a Barry Levinson.
Oh, you know when you were like, hey, have you noticed any patterns? I'm like, oh, there is a pattern. Cameron Crowe did both of these movies.
Yeah, no,
Who did Rain Man?
Barry Levinson directed it. I think it was... I'm going to have to pull up the writer. Written by Ronald Bass and Barry Morrow.
That's pretty impressive that you know that. This was
Barry
what I do
Levinson
on-
Oscared for it, so that's why it's easy
Obviously,
for me to
he did. I put these little nuggets in there for you to see if you can pick apart where I'm making mistakes. So thanks for calling that one out.
You're welcome.
So I saw this movie when I was like 10, 11, 12, like somewhere in there when I was really young and in middle school. And at the time, so this focuses on a story of this selfish yuppie loser played by Tom Cruise, which I, again, can appreciate. And his father passes away, and he finds out that he has this estranged brother that he didn't know about, who's played by Dustin Hoffman. And he's like a really, really wealthy guy and leaves all of his money to the brother, Dustin Hoffman, who is somewhere at the time when I saw this, when I was like 10, is somewhere on the autism grid. Like, I don't know where. Even then, I should probably rewatch the movie. But he's a math whiz. Like, he has all these special talents, but from a social perspective has challenges communicating with, and socializing with people around him. And so at the time when I saw this, so much has changed in society since I was 10 for a lot of reasons. But like the time when I saw this, I really thought of it as being a story that represented a person who was far different than anybody else around them. And yet it like embraced him and that he and his brother could come together and that everyone could value him and what his strengths were, like his math skills and doing all this stuff. And I've subsequently realized, like, I don't know, through comments that I've heard through other people and whatever, like, it's such a sticky subject now when you talk about that if I were to watch it again as an adult, I don't know if I would probably view it differently. But what I hold it as is what I saw when I was 10, was that it was a really cute movie that I loved, that I thought highlighted somebody who was unique. And I guess there's probably all these things that aren't politically correct about
and I mean,
it now,
I think
know?
it's important to keep in mind that in 88, it did really have that function of like bringing this into the conversation. It was a huge film, biggest grossing film of 88. I will say, I love Tom Cruise in it.
Yeah.
I think it's a really interesting performance, maybe even his best performance of the 80s. I would like Dustin Hoffman to get hit by a bus in this movie. I find his performance so unbearably one note and off-putting. Mm-hmm. I kind of slightly
But when did you
it.
see it?
Like 5 years ago.
So that's the thing. I think if I watch as an adult, I may find it off-putting.
There's a wonderful quote by the late critic Pauline Kael, Rain Man is Dustin Hoffman humping the same note on a piano for 2 hours.
Oh,
and like, that's exactly how I feel about it.
And I know we had some listeners and friends of the show write in too about this. I saw it. All joking aside, I had 2 movies on my honorable mentions. It was Top Gun, not Tom Gun. That'd be funny.
Could be.
And it was Rain Man. And I really struggled not to put Rain Man on there. I really enjoyed Rain Man. I met Kim, I think it's Kim Peek, who Dustin Hoffman based his whole performance on. I understand. I haven't gone back to see Rain Man in a long time, so I don't understand. I know that the movie doesn't represent all different spectrums of autism and things like that too, and it probably is a very one-note performance, but it is a performance of the person he bases it on.
Okay.
Kim Peek. When I met him, I think I was junior high. He came in and did a speech. He could recite. You'd say a city anywhere in the United States. He would just know the zip code. Yeah, it was amazing, and the mannerisms that Kim had and everything was very much Dustin Hoffman portraying that. I believe Dustin even thanks Kim in his Oscar speech, and maybe even in the credits. So. I get it.
It's tough,
it's a tough thing.
I'm
It's
sure
a tough
it's
subject
like,
matter because there's people who are afflicted by it, and they maybe see that performance as being a exaggeration, or, it's tough.
Right,
it's
right.
tough. And I don't know how you cover the whole gamut.
I just want to say one other thing, and then I'll get off my soapbox about this movie. I think it's one thing to say like he plays the character based on a real human being, which I'm sure is true. The movie is not about Raymond. The movie is about Charlie. Like Charlie is the character who has an arc. And I think that's more than anything what kind of turns me off to it is like it is using this character not as like here is his experience in life. It would be the exact same movie if Tom Cruise had to take care of a Saint Bernard.
Right. No.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and again, I go back to, this is the last thing I'll say on it too, is that I go back to, I think I would view this completely differently watching it 5 years ago than I did when you have a different view on humanity when you're like,
you should.
10 years old.
You view humanity when you're 10 and when you're in your 30s.
I didn't pick it apart. I just saw it as like,
and I will say as a 10-year-old watching,
yeah.
And if you have any kind of constructs of what it is to be autistic and maybe you distance yourself from people like that, at least for me, it exposed that, wow, different, but different in a very great way.
Well,
right. I'd like to learn more about people who are different than me because even though they're different, they have something,
they can help you
share.
They can help you
blackjack.
So I got to get to
value to the world.
I got to find.
I'm sorry. I'm very salty about it.
Everyone serves a purpose in this world.
No, but
and
like
that's
as a 10-year-old, you
it.
see someone who's different and maybe you're not, at the time that we grew up, like maybe you're not going and hanging out or whatever it is. But like it did open my eyes. And I, when I met Kim Peek, I was super stoked to meet him and I was blown away by Kim.
I saw him as an impressive character. I didn't see it as anything negative. I was more like, oh, I'm glad they're highlighting somebody that's unique and whatever. Again, when I didn't even literally know what the word autism was. It was a crowd pleaser.
It was a big damn movie in 88. Yeah. I'm not going to say like people don't agree with it.
I didn't see it in 88 either. I saw it in like 93.
In 88, people loved it.
Saw it when I was on TBS. But anyway, so that was my number 2.
Do we have any left?
We have my number 1.
Oh my goodness! How have you
and
managed?
Here is my 75 cents because that was not on your list. What's your number 1?
So my number 1 happens to also be my favorite movie that Tom Cruise happens to be in. But I think part of what makes it really cool is the way this extremely important art director took the Tom Cruise persona and twisted it and tweaked it and turned it into like Tom Cruise, the meat puppet, who is going to be our vessel through this very interesting use of a star persona.
Goldmember.
Yes.
I know.
1999, Stanley Kubrick's final film released after he died, Eyes Wide Shut.
Oh, I haven't seen it, but everyone keeps talking about it. Tell me about it.
I was hoping you'd seen it because you did such a good job discussing the sex scene in whatever movie it was.
You mean
Top Gun.
Top Gun. And Eyes Wide Shut is a film about orgies.
Okay.
So there's that.
So
Eyes Wide Shut, based on a Austrian Freudian novel. Movie opens. It stars Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, who were at the time married. Potentially this movie hastened their divorce. I would not be at all surprised. The wife in this couple announces early in the movie, after getting home from a kind of crappy party, that she has once had a fantasy about having anonymous sex with a sailor that she just randomly met one day. Didn't do it, but thought about it and still thinks about it. And this drives her husband fucking batshit insane.
And that's Tom Cruise?
That's Tom Cruise.
Okay.
So he flees their house, wanders the streets of a very, very artificial New York, and ends up going to like this strange gothic sex club where all of these people have very unenjoyable looking orgies, flirts with random prostitutes and 14-year-old girls, ends up at the end of the movie. Well, I won't say what happens at the end of the movie, but it's basically the idea is we are watching the subjective expression of a very petty, jealous man working through his feelings of betrayal at not having even been betrayed. Like the point of her story is that she did not sleep with the sailor. He still takes it as a betrayal. What does that do to his mind? It's based on a Freudian book. So it's all about the title of the book is Dream Novel. Eyes Wide Shut, I think, is a reference to dreaming. So like the impression one gets, nothing happens in the movie. Basically, Tom Cruise falls asleep after hearing this story, and it's what he dreams the night after, like getting pissed off at his wife. Beautiful movie, challenging movie that got lacerated by the critics in 1999, I think very unfairly. To a degree, I think the conversation has come back around. Roger Ebert was one of the people who like very strongly backed the movie initially. So it did always have some critics in its camp. I think it's one of Kubrick's best films. I think he uses the idea of Tom Cruise as like this handsome all-American guy who is also just a complete vindictive shit. So you'd like it. Because he's a dick.
You're selling
He's
me.
the villain of the movie.
Selling me
totally,
on it.
100%. Yeah. And has the best chilly, unerotic sex scenes you will ever see in a motion picture.
Yeah.
You would just be so uncomfortable, Kara, the whole movie.
I feel uncomfortable hearing you talk about it, but maybe I'll just privately watch it.
And seeing what seem to be very private, intimate scenes that are made public because of a camera being there between Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise is also present in that. So that would just make your hair stand up.
That leg hair thing again. Yeah.
Well, every episode we randomly select one member of our audience who shared their feedback. This week's audience top 5, tied for number 5, we actually have Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol and Tropic Thunder. Nobody mentioned Tropic Thunder. It's a small performance.
It's just such a small role. That's the thing.
Wouldn't meet your criteria, Tim, I don't think.
I mean, it's bigger than Goldmember, but not a lot bigger.
Funny movie?
Very funny. Funny movie, great performance.
Carrie just recently found out that Robert Downey Jr. is in fact in that movie. Did not know.
Not only is Robert Downey Jr. in that movie, Robert Downey Jr.'s character is the centerpiece of a disquisition on Rain Man.
That's true. Very good point.
Everything you people are saying right now is confusing me. I don't even know.
They talk about Rain Man extensively.
So I need to rewatch that movie. I missed that Robert Downey Jr. was in that.
It's they make reference in a not so nice way to say that if you do a performance like that, it's Oscar gold.
You can't commit all the way to playing that kind of apologies. It's the conversation is you never go full retard.
Oh, that's like the worst thing you could ever say.
This is why,
Tim's quoting the movie.
He's quoting the movie. He's quoting the movie. Tim would never otherwise have said that out loud.
Number 4, we had Standing Alone Minority Report, Tim, which I don't believe you've reviewed.
I have not reviewed it. I love it. It was my number 8.
Okay.
So I will just say this at this point. My number 7 was War of the Worlds. My number 6 was... I'm sorry. My number 6 was War of the Worlds. My number 7 was A Few Good Men. My number 8 was Minority Report. So it is not even my favorite Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg joint. Great movie. Great design. Apocalyptically bad third act.
Yeah. Number 3, Eyes Wide Shut. So lining up with your number 1 there, the audience is. And
love orgies.
Hey, War of the Worlds making an appearance at number 2. So
is number 1 Edge of Tomorrow?
And number 1 with a bullet to the top, Edge of Tomorrow.
Good choice.
No Jerry Maguire in there, huh?
Yeah, no. And very little mentioned, actually. We had a lot of people write in on this
I think Joy
episode.
said that. Joy Vigil said that.
Oh, yeah, I think we had one Jerry Maguire reference.
Maybe it's just because it's a moment in the cultural sun has passed. I'm a little surprised that not one person has said anything about Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, not a lot of selections for that. Our lucky winner this episode was Daniel, who had Risky Business as number 5, Magnolia, which I'm surprised Magnolia doesn't.
I don't like Magnolia.
Okay,
I love Tom Cruise in it. I do not like the movie.
I pegged you for Magnolia. He had War of the Worlds, Eyes Wide Shut, and Interview with the Vampire. So Daniel was in fact our number 1 Interview with the Vampire, and some Brad Pitt in there. Carrie, have you never seen it? You said
no.
Okay. Daniel, shoot us an email at contact@alternateending.com for details on how to claim your free movie rental. If you want to win a free movie like Daniel, be on the lookout for our spoiler alert or top 5 movie posts on Facebook and Twitter. Share your favorite picks. In closing, I want to thank everybody for listening. Check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, on our website, alternateending.com. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Google. Tune in for our next show, where we'll be doing our top 5 Pixar movies just in time for Cars 3 coming out. Catch you then.